Hansam and Mickey X can run away with that bot side.
Well, as you have already heard, XL, the underdogs, taking on G2 Esports. As we jump into the first phase of bans, Yamato, do you think G2 have been cooking more? Do you think they will play steady? Do you think there's any way you can predict this team?
I think on blue side, it's a little bit more predictable. I'm expecting 2-3 counter pick into whatever bot laner except Plix on 1-2. I hope they deny Gragas and also Rakan here on blue side. Either pick it themselves or just ban Rakan on blue, please.
Yeah, I mean, also the Ashe going to be taken off the board as well. I think your Annie's still going to be a fairly big one as well. I think it's just so good at the moment with the flexibility that offers. But we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is. Caitlyn also going to be taken away from Hansama there.
I think with what we mentioned before about tracking Yike, I think the trick against G2 is to track Mickey. Because if he's always on the run, you know that the next play is going to happen there. And that is the strategy that Astralis employed. If Limit can match that, that they can begin to fight around the 3v3, that's where you can contest G2.
Right now, the Annie was the third and final ban, along with that Ashe and Jace. Sejuani, Caitlyn removed from XL.
Oh, Draven is in, guys.
Will be the final ban.
Yeah, Draven in, Gragas in. There's still a lot of these big picks that can be up and available. And I mean, Hansam has been absolutely fantastic on that Draven. So they're just going to go for that immediately.
Taking a quick look here. I want to just look at this. Throughout the year, 5 games played on Draven, all 5 of them wins, a KDA of 20 for Hansama. He has obliterated everybody that stood in his way.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't expect to see anything different here, especially if Mickey can go towards something like the Nautilus to facilitate this as well. It's become so incredibly strong for them. And now it gives a definitive lane to try and play through again and punish Patrick and Limit with Yike in tow, like we've seen from the last 2 games that Excel have tried to play.
I wonder if the answer will just be a Felios. Maybe you can play Varus, maybe you can get away with an Ezreal, but the issue is always G2 have found ways to break any matchup. They lock in the trash when Heimerdinger is out, and this is for sure the takeaway with potentially a strong jungler.
Yeah, I imagine you're going to end up going towards something like
Trash Jarvan, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Jarvan will be really, really strong here, and then you're probably looking, as you say, the Thresh could be the takeaway here, but also just going back towards the Nautilus and just going, hey, look, we're going to have that easy setup here, make sure that we're absolutely fine. And then I'm curious to see exactly how they want to try and go forward, because as the desk was already highlighting, Caps has got so many different things that he can try and bring out in that mid lane.
Question now is, XL, where do they throw this Gragas? Is the Thresh thrown down in that bottom lane for Mickey? There is the flex opportunities for Gragas. And the question is, Patrick and Limit, first of all, can they stand the 2v2 against Hansama and Mickey, who have been the standout duo all year long? And secondly, will Xerxes or Vito look to play around, look to try and support that bottom lane, prevent Hansama from running ahead?
I think the main thing we will see in this game, already with the 3 champions locked in, is heavy ganking around bot. We need to pay attention to how the wards are being placed, if Sweeper is going to be started, just to deny that vision, to potentially set up that gank, because Purple Aphelios, very easy to gank. Jarvan Thresh, very easy to gank. Whoever gets ahead in this bot lane matchup is going to have a good time in this game.
I am curious to see exactly what the plan is for Xerxes, though, what they want to try and bring in. Are they just going to give him the Gragas? I feel like it's not going to be the case. So I think there's still a lot of opportunities here for Xerxes to try and take something that's a bit more aggressive into that bottom side. And if you want to go towards something like the Elise even maybe here, just to make sure you can match that early power, you still got the ability to repel some of this engage as well, which could be so crucial in these 3v3s.
I mean, Elise is a champion that we have seen Xerxes play. Look, he's got about 400 professional games, only 11 of them on that particular champion. Is one of the options, and Limit, on the other hand, he's got himself a 50% win rate on that Nautilus. Going to be a difficult task to deal with. Yasuo and Olaf banned away. Gragas, what do you think? This is probably going jungle, I would presume, because I don't think it's really a VTO champion.
I would assume the same thing. I think that Xerxes had a good performance on the Gragas, and I think the hope here for XL is that on 4th pick they can pick something that maintains the flex. Maybe something like Lee Sin, something that I've heard in the rumbling, something that has 80 damage, just flex it on 4.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see exactly what's going to happen as we get this back up. But yeah, I'm curious to see exactly what the plan is. again, waiting for that flexibility to see exactly where the Gragas is going to go, but as well, keeping the opportunities for Video to go for the counter pick. There's so much here for XL that they can really opt in towards, but I don't think it'll be a set anytime soon.
Okay.
Well, it was Vi locked in, so that's going to be Gragas top lane for Odo, I'm presuming here. And Odo's had two vastly different performances. First game of the split was fantastic, picked up a bunch of solo kills, and then got bullied very badly yesterday.
No, for sure. I think just when I think of the Vi Gragas, it's something that Mad Lions have played. It's a combo that works very well. You Vi ult and the Gragas ult, but it's something that doesn't do too well in, of course, the 3v3 fights on bot.
Yeah, I think it's more so just to say, hey, look, we've got a very strong burst mid-jungle that we can actually try and very quickly solo out something like the Draven when the Vi goes in onto the backline, and then just have our consistent DPS coming through from the Aphelios. I feel like Odo's probably eyeing up something like the K'Sante or something along those lines on the top side, but Broken Blade just going to go back towards this Kled once more, so very aggressive, skirmish-heavy team coming through from G2.
Right, so I'm just still feeling that 3v3 on bottom side is going to decide the game. Kled, of course, good to engage in. I feel like if XL find like a long-range artillery mage on 5, and LeBlanc works too, I will be very, very happy. Something that can poke from a distance is super, super good.
I think when they look at this G2 death ball that has been put together, every single one of these champions wants to be running at you. They can group up. It is a terrifying 5v5. It's going to be the Ahri locked in at the end. What do you think of XL's composition here and the answers that they'll have to provide from the early and the mid-game power of G2?
I think the main thing is just that as the game progresses, the way they need to fight is so straightforward. Just play around the Vi ultimate, CC chain, attack the same target, very simple and clean. The main difficulty will be that early game, because if the blue side composition snowballs, very difficult. If XL can survive, very easy to play.
And that's actually why I like the pivot into the Ahri here. It feels like you set up for a very strong mid-jungle that you can basically go, hey, look, the 3v3 is going to be tough, but we've now got Video in our back pocket with the Ahri. Play through, making sure you shut down caps, move Ahri with you, and then you're able to disrupt some of those early skirmishes.
You really need to see an impactful performance here from Vito. The Ahris there in the LEC have struggled a little bit this year, haven't necessarily taken over games the way they possibly could.
But also from Xerxes, right? We're saying, hey, look, Xerxes hasn't had the best performances so far. This is where he really needs to be on his goals, getting in towards these early lanes, making sure they're snowballing, in particular, shutting down G2 from getting their ball rolling.
Let's talk a little bit about G2's early game now. With that, Jarvan in Yike's hands can literally go anywhere he wants to try set up those kills. He's got a lot of power during the laning phase. So the options available to him, but also theoretically needs to cover. If those lanes are going to be overextended, if those lanes are going to be pushed, I mean, Dagda, you were talking about it. One of the goals, one of the keys that Xerxes needs to do, track Yike and find a way to impact that early game. What do you want to see out of Yike?
A huge amount of it is going to be, hey, look, getting early vision. Again, I think playing through Video in the early stages, working around the fact you've got so much set up on towards this Cassiopeia before she really gets rolling. You can go for these quick 1-2 punches with the flash charm, with a flash in from Vi, and just make caps very uncomfortable, open up Video for those roams.
I think a very important detail about this level 1 is if G2 can find ways to spot the potential wards, because Jarvan can cross walls, he wants to rush level 2, level 3, and potentially pressure the bottom side. The main thing here for Vi is to change the path into bot, of course, deny the potential dive that the enemy is going to stack, and then on the push out, a fellow should have purple gun, and that will be the opportunity for red side to strike.
Man, it's going to be very tense. The early game can determine this entire matchup. I mean, Yamato, you talk so much about that 3v3 in the bottom lane. And that's where my eyes are going to be. I actually just got some updates here from our stats team. Ahri's been played 4 times this year, only 1 win. And VTO is going to try to pick up that second. Yeah, I can Broken Blade stepping into the jungle. There is a reply here from XL, but don't really anticipate anything to happen. The first trade of damage there will just go to caps.
I wonder if we're going to see a situation where Jarvan is going to look to invade the bottom jungle, 2 push waves into bot and then potential invade. That's something that could happen with this information of Vi being on the red buff.
Of course, I'm going to talk about Vi and Xerxes for another moment or two here. I mean, Xerxes is a player that is being discussed heavily on social media from fans at home, hasn't had the strongest of years. When you look at his stats, team proximity, 2nd in the league at 56%. Kill participation is lowest at 20, and he's behind. So he's spending a lot of time around his lanes, but not really doing a lot.
And that kill participation only goes into the rest of the game as well. Still lowest in the league. And it's a case of, hey, look, he's been sitting around those lanes, but not actually getting a huge amount done. As we talked about, not actually getting cross maps or being able to track the enemy jungler. So I think this game in particular is going to be a big test for Xerxes. Can he finally step out of his shell and be the difference maker here for XL?
Can he maybe punish Hans Summer and Mickey, who are already pushing forward on that bottom lane. Vito will place that ward in the river. You see both Xerxes and Yike pathing towards the bottom half of the map. And exactly as expected during the opening levels here, Mickey and Hans Sama pushing forward already, chipping away at that tower, and Patrick starting to lose a little bit of CS, but we do have to keep a very close eye on the river, keep a close eye on those junglers.
I do like that Hansam and Mickey went for the second wave crash there, though, because if you try and crash third wave, it leaves you so vulnerable for Vi if she wants to go for something sneaky. Even the fact that Video had already started to teeter down towards this bottom side, it shows that at least G2 at the moment are very cognizant that, hey, look, with mid push and with Vi in the bot side, we need to be a little bit more careful. But now that Yike has hit that level 3, now they can start to play that little bit more aggressive as he's hovering around this bottom side.
I think Yike should know that there's a river here, since the river ward, because of course Ari placed it. Potentially maybe just clean it. No, he's just going to continue clearing. No action on bottom side. They know Javan's position.
Both of these mid laners have been trading fairly heavily. Junglers just looking for those opportunities, and Xerxes now stepping towards Yike's position, placing those wards down. I really like the vision here from XL. Hasan Sama will get locked in place for now. Dark Passage available to him. But Patrick and Limit actually come away worse for wear.
I think the beauty of Draven with the change to his passive and how it works, even though you don't get these early ganks going, you don't get those early kills, there's this tension that is building that this passive is going to stack and stack, and you have to do something proactive in order to break it.
Oh! Caps is going to flash forward and picks up the solo kill, but it is traded back under the tower.
So close there, nearly end up getting the solo bolo, but ends up trading one back, and now Yike spots Xerxes on the bot side.
All right, both junglers standing toe to toe. Yike forced to flash over the wall to escape with his life. Limit ready to respond. That's a good play reaction from XL. Broken Blade chasing forward, dismounted, and we'll get that rocket shot onto Odo. They end up trading 1-for-1, 500 gold advantage to G2.
So far, though, Xerxes has actually been doing exactly what we're talking about, making sure he's tracking where Yike is. Moves in, gets that ward just beside the enemy Raptors, makes sure that he can spot out the mid play, and then moves down to match the bot play. It's just unfortunate here for Video that he ends up going down.
I really like the miasma placement to just deny, of course, the flash away, and then the charm, of course, to follow up after the flash. Just well played from both mid laners.
Dancing on the absolute edge. Caps able to secure that advantage. VTO pushing the wave back in. Both mid laners TP'd in. Keep in mind, VTO's got that flash still, and say nearing level 6. But this is what I was talking about during the draft. When you see Caps making that play happen on Cassio, you can't really do that on a Malphite, and I just don't like seeing that.
Not with that
personally.
attitude, you know?
No, exactly.
But seriously, I think it is true. The fact that we get Caps onto a bit more of a damage dealer, something that he can be the big carry. But already, even though we're seeing G2 and XL kind of trading tip for that, the big winner is going to be on that bottom side. Draven already with a massive CS lead. This is what Hansam has been able to do so effectively for G2.
I think another layer of what just happened in this game, I think the important way that G2 can convert the lead on bottom side is into that Drake. And I think the biggest hope for XL to get a swing back is to punish this Cassio without flash. When Vi is 6, when Ari is 6, the tools to approach her and attack her is, of course, available for you.
We're sitting in a 3v2 for now. Yike waiting just behind. GTO has just dinged onto level 6, so Limit left the lane, looked for the opportunity, wasn't able to find that engage, and Caps escapes.
But this is why G2 have been so good. They had a ward, Blues Award in Riverside Brush and both Pixel Brushes, and now they're looking for the play.
Well, there's the death sentence, already connected, followed forward. Hans Summer's got 125 stacks. He's focused down, he's flashed away, he's below 200, but he stays alive. Mickey's now low and running for his life, as Vito's already used one of those charms. The death sentence goes just a little bit wide. The Foxfire won't find its target, and luckily this time round nobody goes down.
Blinking health bars, but that was so close to Hansama being able to finally cash in. But Patrick now going to be able to push in this big wave on bot and should be able to crash it before Hansama gets back.
Something that I really like about what I'm seeing from XL in these first few minutes, not only have they got a little bit of the answers to Yike's movement in comparison to the 2 previous games, around 2,000 gold at 14 minutes down, 0.45 their KD. I mean, gold difference is sitting 9th is absolutely atrocious. They were able to avoid the engage, and I think they're a little bit lucky that G2 went closer to punish.
One of the big problems that they've had, though, is that Patrick and Limit have been so hard focused in their last 2 games. Even though they are sitting, they were sitting slightly behind, they're now sitting even in this lane. They've actually been able to get themselves into a decent spot, and it feels like as long as XL are able to kind of coast through this, they should be in a relatively okay spot as they start to get in towards the later portion of the game.
Okay, so small CS advantages for Caps and Hans Sama, and with the back timers for XL, this will open up the Dragon, as you were talking about, Yamato. for XL, Xerxes is getting closer to that level 6. It feels to me like he needs to have an impactful ultimate, try to claw back this gold deficit and push one of these lanes ahead.
I have to point out Viteo's conditions here in the mid lane is going to deny a big window for them because the flash cooldown is ticking. Viteo was low mana. They leveraged that into a Drake with the bottom lane prio, and there's no pressure at Kazuya at all. Viteo needed to find the base after that fight in River, but it just didn't happen.
And I think that's why, again, coming back to G2, they're so good at like looking at what the enemy team wants to do and thinking, how can we shut this down? They had a ton of vision all throughout River the first time XL tried to go for that play. And then as Yamato's pointing out, by the time they get around to the second one, well, you're already wasting time around mid because G2 are going for Dragon. The pressure's on XL to try and trade for something, but just the waves, everything just isn't in a good state for them to make things happen.
Yeah, and Xerxes this time will be able to pick up the first couple of hits here on the Herald. He has hit level 6 momentarily ahead of Yike and actually has backup from Viteo. Death Sentence will connect onto Limit and the Dredge Line pulls him to safety. So that was well buffered. And will this be able to be secured? Yike stepping forward. It's in a 3v1 for now. Caps making his way into the river, and that's a big advantage. Odo commits everything for the engage. Cataclysm is thrown down. Caps waiting for the petrifying, won't find the stun, and it's all of a sudden Yike that's taken down. Odo should be traded back as Broken Blade flashes for the auto. Vito's running for his life as the poison is ticking. Can the Wolves finish it off? Just jump down the jungle, creeps dead for Caps.
That's heartbreaking, but in the bot side, we're still going.
All of a sudden, Limit is dropped down. A gigantic cash in for Hans Summer. It's traded immediately back by Patrick. Didn't see how that started out, but a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane.
Honestly, Wu-Tang said it best. Cash rules everything around me. Cream. Draven is now super rich. This cash out is going to make the bottom side very difficult. And of course, Caps has flash after this situation. I'm not sure where XL is going to look to find the punish because platings are falling.
And it's heartbreaking because we get to see XL trying to make proactive plays. They're looking at the Rift Tower going, okay, we can sneak this away. G2 are on bot side, but they just end up finding that little bit too late of a window where Yike gets a great buffer onto the flag and drag, immediately turns around and somehow manages to get away from this, which forces Video and Xerxes to overextend.
I think the key thing is just that they're burning all of their tools on the Jarvan that actually got his ultimate out, got a good EQ in, and then the follow-up here, we actually didn't see this, so let's see what happened. Mickey's engaging aggressively, and now he's gonna play him in. Oh, the cancel!
Very nicely done by Mickey. The damage back from Moonlight Vigil, able to at least trade 1-for-1. But Yamato, I gotta pick back up on something you said. All of the tools thrown onto Yike's Jarvan, Caps completely untouched, Broken Blade able to have a larger impact on that fight, and unfortunately for Viteo, not finding the charm, not having the time to get those orbs out in the Foxfires, meaning they fall 2,000-ish gold behind. It's 2 kills for Caps. He's already got the Roa stacking and the Kraken Slayer picked up for Hans Summer. It's such a difficult situation.
Oh, it's super tricky. They need to look for picks. They need to find ways to maybe outnumber. Broken Blade, of course, is running the Ignite. Maybe that is going to be next opportunity with Odo. Amna has the TP. Find a 5v4 when Kled is catching a wave. I think that's the best way in. They also have the Rift Herald. Maybe they can catch G2 off guard.
I mean, Yike has got that Cataclysm waiting in the tri-bush. Nobody from XL stepping forward. They're placing some defensive vision in the river. Right now, it is once again Mickey landing a death sentence. Here comes Yike. Cataclysm dropped onto Limit. Hans Summer stays alive long enough to once again cash in. The Whirling Death picks up a double. And now Patrick's running for his life. Here comes Yike. Flashes available to Patrick, and there's no support. Beautifully done from G2.
If Cash rules everything around Hans Summer, Yike rules everything around this bot lane. Every time he steps up, he's catching Xerxes when he tries to make a move. And it feels like XL are just a little bit slow to the play. They try to move Video down, well, they don't get quite into position before the wave is back, but now Video wants to move top.
All right, Broken Blade is dismounted. Vito's going to use the ulti, step forward, barrel comes out and taken down by the explosive cask. Odo picks up the solo kill. Yamato, I'm going to have to ask you to leave in just a moment or two, but how do you feel this game is going to play out, and what do you want to see from XL in order for them to pick up the upset?
Honestly, just find some catches. Odo Amna has TP. Use your Rift Herald for an advantage. Thank you so very much, gentlemen.
Thank you for joining us. Berlin, put your hands together for your Yamato Cannon as he will once again rejoin the analyst desk. So Dagda, I'm taking a look now at the state of this game. It is a 2,000 gold lead here for G2. 3 kills in Hans Summer's first pick, Draven. And Rift Herald is at least going to be dropped here for a couple extra plates in Vito's back pocket. But we've seen in the skirmishes so far, the Ahri has not been able to output a similar or a equivalent level of damage to the Casio.
The biggest problem is that the whole... Oh, hang on.
Well,
Video?
there's the charge, the flag, the drag, and the dunk. Broken Blade, as well as Yike, easily taking down VTO.
The charm going wide was kind of the cherry on top there as well. G2 are snowballing this game so effectively, and they've been incredible at doing this. Every single time they seem to take the rift, they've been able to get these leads very quickly, decimate and move around their advantages, and now Broken Blade, see what he can do.
He's the next target, but it's going to be up to Xerxes to try find something. Broken Blade is flashless and will be able to pop off on Skull. A lot of damage in reply. He's going to look for that shot from the cannons, and now here comes Xerxes once again. Denting blows out. Broken Blade, if he remounts, can turn this one around. He survived the 2v1 for now. He's a little bit more time. There's another fight in the bottom lane as the Cataclysm as well as the Whirling Death pick up another kill onto Patrick. Broken Blade has remounted. Skull has done it for Broken Blade. He outplays the 2v1 and picks up the kill.
He was waiting with another blast of the shotgun there underneath the tower to make sure he'd be able to just about get away from XL, and now Mickey back in the mid lane. Limit to answer though.
Well, Limit's not going to be able to find anything. The death sentence going just a little bit wide. And again, fights in multiple lanes. Broken Blade outplays the 2v1. Yike is able to support Hans Sama and Mickey for another kill. The first tower is going to fall here in just a moment. And it is another gigantic lead for G2 in the early game.
And this is the thing, it feels like G2, its efficiency is the big difference maker here. Every time you see Mickey roam, they're not really losing out on it in bot lane, they're getting something for it. When Yike is doing his jungle path, he's making sure he's in the right place at the right time to answer for Xerxes without falling behind when it comes to the CS numbers. And now Caps just getting to farm up, and this late game Cassiopeia will be such a massive threat. Even you can see here, Yike is on a ward, and Patrick just doesn't respect it at all.
Patrick is taken out through the flash down as well, and the jungle does not belong to XL. Yike is moving that vision forward, and I think we're going to be able to see this remount in just a moment.
The big thing here is the ultimate from Xerxes doesn't get the full damage because Broken Blade was dismounting. So you don't get that full burst damage. Even here you can see just a double shot there from the shotgun to get him a little bit more space. But now we're straight back into the action as he's gone.
Cease and desist thrown down, and Mickey is dropped. VTO picks up his second kill of the game. He's still down 500 gold, but I think with a numbers advantage, I was feeling confident about the second Rift Herald. VTO stepping forward as Hans Sama and Yike waiting. The backup is coming. Caps from the south.
Broken Blade coming as well. Odoamne does have TP to join though.
His limit. Dredge line connects. Cataclysm is available. Who's going to get locked in? Patrick is not. He's sidestepped for now. Hans Sama's on a rampage with another Whirling Death. The charm connects. This time VTO trying to take him out. But Hans has got the Kraken Slayer. He's got the damage. But it's VTO that gets the kill. While Broken Blade runs down Patrick and XL escaping for the time being. Flash forward from Broken Blade. The bear trap on a rope will not find the fat man, but Skull is stepping forward, continuing to chase him out. Pulls Odo backwards. Cap stepping forward too, and Mickey's death sentence, his body slammed away. A fight across the entire rift, and it's a 2-for-2.
And now Broken Blade and Mickey should be able to turn over to get this rift out. A very, very close fight that just came down to who could kill the other AD carry faster. And G2 with Broken Blade able to just about eke that one in. And then look at Broken Blade. He's 5-1.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Hans Sama's got the Bloodthirster completed as well as that Kraken Slayer, and VTO nearly taken out. If that charm had been just a little bit wide, he would not have had the time. Of course, because VTO does at least pick up that one kill, G2 were able to win the fights, and Odo just dropped again. I mean, they've stuck around, they picked up the Herald, they simply have a significant advantage, and they are using every single piece of CC to punish XL.
Because they know on bot side there isn't really any pressure.
Oh, look at this. Once again engaging. Dark Passage available. If Broken Blade can get to it, he is taken down. Patrick at least gets a kill. Teleport is being completed. Here comes VTO. Charging forward. Needs to find the charm. Hans Sama, stand aside. Whirling Death, as well as the autos will pick up just another. I mean, there's just too much damage to deal with. XL cannot stand toe-to-toe.
Every time they look for a pick, it's just more and more members of G2 come out of the woodwork to turn around. Yes, they get Broken Blade, but now Hans Sama will get the top lane turret. They got the kills in return, and they don't even have to use the Rift Herald here on top side. They won't even have to use it on the mid lane turret either, which is already incredibly low thanks to Caps. They now get to use it on those crucial tier 2 towers as well.
I mean, take a look at the scoreboard. CS advantages, a minimum of 1,000 gold advantage. the top half of the map. 3,600 for Hans Sama on that Draven. And as soon as he was able to pick up that first kill, G2 have just run away with it.
And look, this was a little bit too much of a step forward for Broken Blade just because Hans Sama wasn't quite quick enough to get off the mark there. But XL returned the favor. They go way too deep trying to follow up on this, not respecting the fact that Cassiopeia had her TP to get up here. And once they realize that Caps is coming into the backline, they want to get the hell out of Dodge before it all goes south.
And I mean, Mickey, multi-man flay, the box slowing everybody down, then followed up by the Cataclysm. Hans Sama was just never under threat, never at risk of being taken out. I mean, you look at the damage dealt throughout the course of this game. You mentioned Broken Blade's impact. He's currently 6-2-2, and he has run distraction. He has destroyed the back line. He has initiated for kills of Devitio. This cleared that was blind picked. Correction, actually, was they knew it was into Gragas. Has been very, very impactful. But the truth is, everybody has. They've just run over XL once they started running around the map.
And again, you will have Patrick that eventually become to a point where he is relevant, right? He has gone Gale Force IE, so in a relatively decent spot here. Would love to have a BT as well under his back pocket before he really hits his stride. But the problem is Caps is massive, and G2 don't want to let this up as Yike on the flank.
And of course, the 10,000-ish gold difference is G2 can just hit them with their wallets. The flag, the drag, the three-man Cataclysm. Limit will at least take out Mickey, but the rest of the squad are petrified, are rooted in place. The barrel throws Caps under the tower, but Vitio will be the next to fall. Caps is tanking the turret shots and escapes as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 members taken down from XL. And G2 dominates in the mid lane.
The support dies, while on the other side only the support survives. Hans Sama now will get the tower. They're going to get that immediate charge onto this inhibitor, and with the 20-minute mark just around the corner, Baron is going to be significantly easier for G2 now to pick up as well.
I mean, G2's composition in the mid game just absolutely accelerating. Rift Herald will get that charge. 2 more towers. The inhibitor is under risk. It's 5 towers to 0. It's a 11,000 gold lead, and that Draven was the first pick. That Draven has been influential in this game, but I think more importantly, XL have been unable to answer G2's aggression, G2's rotations around the map, and despite avoiding, what, like 1 gank early on, almost every other skirmish has gone the way of G2.
Yeah, I think it was just a case of the moments that they tried to move video out of mid lane weren't really working. And at this stage now, G2 are just way too big. Hans Sama, yes, he gets CC'd in the back line, but Broken Blade is running through them. Yike has a ton of damage. Caps is coming in on the flank. And everything that we talked about in the early stage about, hey, can XL try and find the windows to get video involved in that bottom side, just weren't there, and now they're paying the price.
They really are, and I think a little bit of credit yet to G2's positioning and sort of like creative approaches to the team fights. They're using Jarvan's mobility, the ability to get over walls, flawlessly. We saw that late flank coming in from Caps. Even when they're invading, you just feel like they have the advantage in every decision. And right now with Baron being available, as well as the vision being set up in the jungle, Caps is backed up here by Yike, unable to kill Odo for now. Cataclysm locks in Xerxes, whose flash was on cooldown. Caps will pick up that kill, and now 5 versus 4. This lead is just getting even bigger. I mean, itemization-wise, 2-3 items completed here for G2 members, and they should be able to pick up this Baron uncontested.
Yeah, and then look, in G2 again, just playing off 2 lanes. They push mid, immediately have the Kled to follow up. But the cool thing that you always miss about G2 is, like, even on bot side, they've got a slow push starting there as well. So essentially, they have 3 pushing lanes, and with that, they're able to get the Baron off the back of this too. Now they'll be in a position where you can already move Broken Blade down to that wave that's starting to pick itself up speed in that bottom lane. And on top side, they're already looking for that tier 2.
Of course, going back to that draft discussion just a little bit, some of the options, some of the answers to how G2 are going to play, not working out. The Ahri has not had the impact that XL would have wanted. It just makes me think a little bit more and give a little bit more praise to how Astralis approached the game yesterday. You know, that Irelia was not only a great pick, it was executed extremely well. And I think you've got to be very, very diverse in how the hell you plan to, you know, stop G2.
Yeah, and again, it was Leader having access to that backline that was so big of a difference maker there. The problem now is, like, XL, yes, you technically do with Xerxes and with video, but realistically, Vito doesn't have damage. Xerxes doesn't either. Caps and Hansama are going to be more than happy to welcome you with open arms if you try and dive the back line.
And take a look at the gold differences here. Total gold secured. 1, 2, 3, 4 members of G2, all above Patrick and then VTO. So even if XL can find a advantageous position, they're going to get through so many more stats, and G2 are just going to push the bottom lane. There's no answer here, no defense. XL trying to shove in the mid lane, they get punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, Broken Blade standing 1 versus 5 in the mid lane, and G2 are just like, all right, bro, just take bot lane. That's grand with us.
Oh, man. Okay, so G2 looking to close this one out in style. XL, they picked up that 1 win against Fnatic to open up the spring split. Unfortunately for them, have not been able to contain really anybody here from G2.
And it feels like every other team in LEC is going to be cursing Astralis because they beat G2, and now G2 are going to be angry and annoyed and take it out on everyone else. And unfortunately, XL are the first team that they're going up against. And I mean, this G2 just will not stop.
No, they will not. Mickey goes over the wall, and Limit escapes for now. Mickey forced to get out. Cataclysm locks in a few. VTO is escaping with his ulti. There comes Broken Blade with the charge, and Patrick gets himself a kill onto Yike. White-Red is the perfect combo for the fight in a 5 versus 4. But it is into the Baron-empowered minions as well. 2 inhibitors have fallen. XL find themselves a constellation kill, but that is about all, as we're a minute away from the Dragon Soul. G2 have got 2 inhibs down. They have got control of every single part of this rift.
I mean, at least he gets some go back over to Patrick. Again, we're talking about getting towards that BT, but I don't know if he's going to have a finish. I wasn't quite sure how much gold he picked up there off the kill onto Mickey, but maybe that can push him over the edge, but he's very far away from being able to get that. So it looks like instead, XL are saying, hey, look, screw the Dragon. We're not going to be in a position to contest this, as Odo kind of rightfully showing what G2 can do, so XL will trade onto top side.
Just able to body slam away to safety. I mean, look.
Oh, no,
Broken Blade is now going to find Limit. Fair trap on a rope, pulls him backwards, and the rest of G2 arrive. Hansama and Mickey as well. That's just unfortunate, as all of a sudden Patrick will be the next target. Gets himself a bounty, gets XL's first tower, and the kill will be donated to Hansama. 8, 1, and 6.
This week is St. Patrick's Day, but today is not Patrick's Day. And G2 right now immediately turning on to Xerxes. They want to make sure that they're going to be in a fantastic spot here. They're just taking over topside. They have full control. They don't care about the Dragon. They're just going to go for the end.
I mean, it's just pure style at the moment. G2 can do no wrong. And as we approach the last games of the first week of spring, it does make you look at the bigger picture. 3 games apiece, we see a couple of teams like Astralis, BDS, SK stepping up. G2 having a little bit of fun, cooking in their draft somewhat, but once again delivering. It's lost that game to Astralis, and it's all of a sudden XL paying the price. The petrifying gaze, the Cataclysm locks XL in, and there's nothing that can be done. 24 kills in 25 minutes, and they might not be done just yet. Moonlight Vigil gets yet another for Patrick, but the Nexus is being focused down by Broken Blade. Hansama cleanses out the charm. He's looking for another. Nexus is being ignored for now, and it looks like finally G2 will take down XL. That is one of the more difficult games to actually commentate and discuss, because the moment G2 got a minor advantage, they just decimated XL across the map.
And again, I think this is why for G2, a lot of people, myself included, are excited to see them on an international stage, because when you look at it, no offense to LEC, but G2 just feel head and shoulders above everyone else, and it feels like their real competition is going to be stepping